Well, hello everybody. How are ya? I want to
Hello, hello.
know. Did you miss me? I just want to know. Did you miss me?
I
That's
did.
fine. Well, I missed y'all too. I'm telling you, I missed y'all too.
Yep, I
Um,
certainly did.
I missed y'all too. Uh, a lot of things. Everybody needs their 5 minutes of what do they call it? Relaxation. Is that what they call it? Well, the whole time I was gone, I was in a big city because I'm from a little bit town that only has one possum and one hole and one light, one street light. And we went to a town that had a whole lot of street lights and a whole lot of people and a whole lot more possum than I'm sure that we have in my town. And I think I got anxiety. I just looked out the window and thought to myself, and this too shall pass. So
Hmm.
I shut the window and went on with it.
How come you only get 5 minutes of relaxation, but you get 15 minutes of fame? Just asking for a friend.
Well, I I'm not really sure I understand all that, but I know one thing. Um, Sometimes you breathe a whole lot better. Um, you know what I think? I'm gonna tell you this is what I think. I think sometimes we take for granted the things uh that we think are not important, and they're very important. They're extremely
Hmm.
important, like quiet,
Yeah,
crickets. Do you know what is really important? Crickets.
yeah, because we're gonna have to eat them.
No, that's not where I was going. Crickets are very important because you know what? That tells us that it's quiet.
Don't the mosquitoes? Don't the crickets eat mosquitoes?
I
I thought
don't
I heard
know.
that
I
somewhere.
don't know. I don't know. I know that is there anything that eats a skater?
Yeah, there's a few things, but I can't
Well,
off the top of my head remember them.
I wish I knew what they were because I would be welcome them to my house. I got a whole bunch of skaters out there, and I would
Oh,
be
I bet.
more than happy for them to come to my house and visit.
Oh, I bet.
And
Yes, that's
and it's one humid place right now where I'm at. So,
mhm, mm. Yeah, it's pretty humid here too, and we're
is
gonna
it
get
really?
yeah, and we're supposed to get walloped, next week. I mean, we're never, ever, ever hot in June. I mean, we're warm, but it's supposed to go into the 90s, like mid to high 90s next week. We're
Well,
usually we're usually in the high 70s, low 80s.
mine says weather alert. Let's see. Uh, it is. It says it's 89, but the heat index makes it 109. Isn't that
That's
nice?
mhm.
Isn't
That's
that nice? It
it's too
makes
hot.
it just makes you so happy you could just
Mm.
jump up and down for joy. I'm telling you right now.
Mm. Oh, yeah. It'd be nice if you had a big, nice pool in the backyard.
This is true, or you run in and out of the sprinkler a whole lot. You run
Yeah.
in and out of the sprinkler all the time, I'm telling you,
I
because it
remember
is
doing
so
that.
doggone hot. It is so doggone hot.
I remember doing that. That was fun.
That was fun. That was back in the day.
Do you
Remember
remember
water
do you
balloons?
yeah, and do you remember, like, the sprinklers that would go, like, back and forth like a rainbow? And then you'd pick up
Yeah.
the sprinkler and you used to pretend that you were painting someone. Did you ever do that?
No.
Oh, well.
When we were what? You were painting somebody.
That must be a Midwestern thing. Yeah, you'd take the sprinkler and turn it on its side, and then you'd start at the head and you go back and forth and you ask them what color they wanted, and then they'd turn around and you paint their back. That we were kids.
How funny. That sounds like a
Yeah,
good time. That
we
sounds like a
were
real good
kids.
time.
Yeah, we did. We had fun. We certainly did. There was a boatload of kids. My mom lives on a street with only 16 houses, and it's not a cul-de-sac or anything like that. Um, but there was a boatload of kids, and we used to have so much fun in the summer. So much fun.
I remember water balloons and throwing them at each other, and we used to drink from the garden hose, and we
Uh,
never died. None of us ever died. I
mm, no, but it sucked oops. The first person that got the garden hose that had been sitting in the sun all day and it was hot water.
Oh, I know that too, because it is hot water out there right now. I'm telling you right now, in my garden hose is really hot. It's kind of crazy, but it's all right. It's all right. Emmett always takes the first licking, and then the rest of us get in there. So
Yeah.
poor Emmett, he always gets the bad part of everything. It's all right.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I've missed, like, gosh, I've missed a week. I can't believe I've missed a week. I missed the 80s. And I
Yeah.
grew up in the 80s. I could
Right.
say so much about the 80s right now. Even, I was just looking at the news the news, breaking news, and Bon Jovi had something to say to Taylor Swift, but I didn't
Yeah.
look at it, and I was giggling because I thought, doggone it, I could have used that last week, but he didn't say it till today, I think.
Right. Hmm.
Anyway,
I wonder what his little message is.
I don't know, but he is the most handsome man I've ever seen. He
Oh,
always
he got
was.
better looking with age.
He still looks good, and he's been with the same woman
Yeah.
all these years.
Yep.
Same woman.
That's
That's
almost
a
unheard of in rock and roll.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
He is yeah, he's special.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like the little yellow bus special either.
Right. Nope. 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 No.
Um yep, and I saw that, and then I thought I could have done a lot to talk about the 80s, but things happen, and then I
Yeah.
missed and then I was sick for the news one, so I missed that one too. So I feel like I've been gone forever.
Yeah. I've missed you.
Well, I missed you, and I missed everybody that we talked to on here, and
Yeah.
I've decided that come hell or high water, or sick or not, I'm going to be on here. Well, I ain't gonna swear to it. I'm telling you right now, I ain't gonna swear to it,
Right. Right. Because
but
you never know. Things happen.
things happen. They always do. They always happen. Well,
Mhm.
minute you swear to something, it's something's gonna happen.
Yep.
So I ain't swearing to nothing. I'm gonna
Nope.
tell you right now. I'm gonna try my best to be here, and that's it.
Yep. That's the
So
best we can do, guys.
that's
That's
all
the
I
best
can do.
we can do.
I want you to tell me about your week that I've been gone. How's your week gone?
Oh, I've had a good week. Good week. Of course, it's a lot of babysitting for, the little peanut. And my older grandsons are finally out of school today. And they went to a martial arts tournament over last weekend, and the older one got a gold and a silver medal,
Wow, good for them.
and the younger one got a silver and copper. I guess they do gold, silver, copper, bronze.
So
So
they're like the Kung Fu Panda kids.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
To be
awesome.
honest, I wouldn't want to mess with them. I really wouldn't.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because that leads me right into what I was getting ready to talk about for a second. I want to talk about this real quick, and then I'll let you do your news. But and then I'll do my news. But we were all talking about we're all Americans, right?
Mhm.
It don't matter what color you are, what gender you are, whatever you are. It don't matter because we're all
Nope.
Americans.
Right.
And I was thinking today that I I needed to bring this up because it's really important to me. If we were all fighting, say that a war broke out, would you worry that there was somebody who was transgender next to you fighting with you?
Um,
Or would you just say, you know what, thank God they're fighting for America?
well, I think if they're holding their ground, I would say thank God they're fighting for America. But
Thank
if
you.
they're just screaming like if if they're just screaming,
Well, they won't last long. That's the
right,
thing.
right,
But but I'm just saying if I'm sitting there fighting and they're fighting next to me, I'm not too worried about what gender they are, what their sexual preference is or any of
no,
that kind of stuff. As long as they're fighting next to me, it don't matter. Because we're all Americans, right?
right,
All
right.
right. All right. I don't know why I had to bring that up because all of a sudden came heavy on my heart that I had to tell everybody we don't care. We
Yeah,
don't care whether you're gay or you're transgender or whatever you are. You're all American, right?
as long as you're willing to stand up for your country.
That's right. If you're willing to stand up and fight for what is yours, and that's ours, America's ours, guys, and it
Right,
could
right.
change with everything that's going on.
Yeah,
All right. So, in saying that, I'll let you do your news.
change. Ha, boy, has a lot changed. Okay, let's start out with what do I want to start? I'll start out with this. Um, it's not really on mainstream media too much. I don't think it's on mainstream media at all. I haven't seen it. If it is, it may be in your neck of the woods, but not in mine. Um, on the way from Russia, yeah, their battleship decided to do exercises off the coast of Florida. They were heading to Cuba. So we scrambled and got our jets out and got our battleship out and yeah, kind of shoot them away. Um, but guys, there's a battleship in Cuba that's 90 miles away.
There's three of them.
Yeah. And they also have their nuclear submarines.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're not just in Cuba, they're going into the Gulf.
Yes, ma'am.
And I heard something really interesting today. And that was that it was one of the presidents in the little countries. But Russia is basically pulling together with all those little irritating countries and making one force. Yeah, and they are up to go against NATO. So, it's going to get ugly, and this one president said that we are only maybe 3 months away from World War III.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah. That's scary. But in the
It's
same
very scary. It's very scary.
but in the same token, this president also said something that struck me, and it's like, well, will you look at that? Not that I ever doubted you, Miss Connie.
Go
But
ahead. Go ahead. Let me. Uh, just give me
th-
your best shot. Go ahead.
that country has been stockpiling flour,
Uh huh.
sugar,
Uh huh.
salt,
Uh huh.
and oil.
Yeah, because they're smart. I'm telling you right now, they're smart.
Yep. Yep. And it's just, it's just like one of those little, pinky nail countries. It's smaller, but yeah, he's moving troops around. He's, getting closer to Finland, and this is the same what he's doing here in the US, which is scary, guys. It's scary. This is the same thing he did to the Ukraine a year before he attacked it. He put everything in place and waited a year. Now, what you need to understand, yeah, a battleship, okay, whatever, missiles, blah, blah, blah. What you guys need to understand is that those missiles are topped with nuclear warhead.
And they're flying overhead. Just so
Yes.
y'all know. If you want to look up, if you ever get a chance and feel a rumbling, look up because they're
Yeah.
there. Tell you.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, it's like Florida's getting hammered with rain. I mean, like
Mm,
hammered. They're ready to float away, and you can't tell me that all of this is not from that damn seeding that they're doing,
well, of course.
you know? And then they say the hurricane season's going to be the worst ever. Well, how can they project that? I mean, I understand there's maps and there's this and there's that. Hmm. Makes you want to go, if they can put stuff in the sky, guys don't think they can't put stuff in the ocean. Think about that.
Oh, they can do anything. I'm
Right.
finding out they can do anything.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
And
you know what they can't do though is they can't fix our economy, and they
no.
can't bring our gas prices down, and they can't bring down our price of food. But you know what? They're getting ready to grow meat in a lab.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Me too.
I'll probably end up starving to death because
Me
I
too.
don't eat very many vegetables, and I can't live on just the 3 or 4 vegetables I eat. Maybe if I was desperate, I would eat other things. Never say never. I'm talking about vegetables, not other things. Um, you know, maybe I would just because I would be starving, but, you know, I better stock up on some kind of cheese sauce or, in a can or something to pour over it.
Well, you know what? We were talking about that. I'm. That's funny that you even bring that up because we were talking about how, they had to dam the water in California because they were trying to save the smelt. That was Nancy Pelosi's junk, but she was going to save the smelt minnow because that's the only thing that the salmon would eat. And I'm like, so you're going to stop all the citrus and all the trees to save a smelt minnow, who, by the way, is getting ready to get eaten by the salmon. That don't make no sense. I can
Right?
guarantee you, that salmon would have found something else to eat because they ain't going to starve to death.
Why are we trying to mess with the way the world has been spinning for thousands of years? That's
Go
my
figure. I'm
question.
not
And,
sure. I don't
you know,
understand. I don't get it either. I
and
don't get it.
the thing that's so funny about that is that, instead of damming that and doing that, why don't you just catch them because they have smelt season, smelt, whatever.
It's melt season.
They have that. And, they come back with big, huge things. And, my brother used to do that. He would go smelt fishing and come back and then have to clean all them slimy little, and, they're bottom feeders.
I
They're
never
bottom,
even seen one. I don't even know what
not,
they look like.
they're about this big, and they're bottom feeders. They're nasty. They're nasty. And,
Well, the salmon like them, I guess.
well, yeah, you
Well,
know, but that, I mean, it's just like everything, everybody not everybody, everything has a thing that they eat, and they've been doing it for thousands of years.
yeah, and one of those things is not meat that is grown in a laboratory. I'm telling
Right,
you right now, I am not eating anything that was grown in a laboratory.
right. You're going to worry about smelt that produce like rabbits, but let's not worry about the forest animals that are getting burnt to death every year.
Yeah, what about the little bunnies?
And what about the baby Bambis? And what about the baby bears? I mean, we need that for our economy. We really do. We need that for our ecosystem, I should say.
Well, I heard that they were getting all mad because it took too much. We're growing too much food to feed the cattle. So we need to quit growing this food for the cattle.
Well, and you know what? A couple years ago, it was they wiped out all of the farmers so they could plant soy. What? What? You're not planting fruits and vegetables, but you're going to plant soy. Why?
And that ain't good for us. I don't think that's good for us at all.
I mean, there are countries abroad that do eat a lot of soy, and a lot of their food is soy based, which
Is
is
it
fine.
McDonald's hamburgers soy? Or
Yeah.
is it one of them are? Maybe it's Burger King. One of them is a soy burger. I'm not sure which
Mm,
one, but it don't matter because
yeah. I don't know.
no, I ain't making the soy be
Mhm,
my major part of my protein. Of course,
mhm.
it's so expensive to eat out. You would not believe when I was gone. Uh, I had a all right. Me and Clyde went down because it was the last night and we were going to leave early, and we decided that we just go down to the hotel little gift store, whatever, and get us a sandwich or whatever, and make it quick. It was $17 for his lettuce wrap, turkey lettuce wrap that I could have made for him for about 350, and my Italian sub, which was no bigger than this. I ain't joking with you. And they cut it in half. Was $18. Before we walked out of there, yeah. Oh, and you know those little Lay's potato chips that our mama and Papa used to put in our lunch bag?
Yeah.
They were $4.
Oh my
$4 for a
God.
bag. And I thought I could get me a whole big old bag for $4 a piece. So we paid before we were out of there. We paid like 40 some odd dollars. And I was like, it was almost 50. No, it was 50. And I thought, for what? He
Right.
got a lettuce wrap and I got a. And I just looked
Right.
at the lady, gave her the money, and walked off, shaking my head, thinking to myself, you know what? This is so wrong. This is so. This is so. This is the reason people don't go nowhere. I'm telling you right now.
Well, you know what they're doing now is that they're going to grocery stores. Like here, we have Kroger's. So these gas stations and these little shops and hotels and stuff, they wait till they go on sale 10 for 10, and then they buy 2 carts full of pop and take it back and sell it for 350, 379.
Well, there's some smart people, huh?
And they're also going to the big warehouses, like Sam's Club and BJ's, Costco, and they're getting those little packets of things, and they're paying 7, 8, $10 for a package of 48,
And so, tell
and
me
then they
what's wrong.
sell them for $3.
And tell me, come on, Linda, tell me what's wrong with that.
What's wrong with that is that we didn't think about it.
Oh well, yeah, that's a good one. That wasn't quite what I expected, but
Right.
yeah, you're right. You're right. It's all wrong. No wonder our country is what it is because everybody learns how to cheat everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know.
I mean, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. Is back when our dads were working, people bought things and paid for things. They worked for what they wanted. They worked for what they needed. They didn't try and figure out, well, how can I get $1 million with a penny? And these people will find a way.
Oh,
They will
speaking of
find a way.
pennies, speaking of pennies, I'm glad you brought that up. Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. I got while I was on vacation, if you call it that. I think now, I mean, we had a good time, but it was uh, a lot spendy. Let's go
Yeah,
there. Anyway, um, I got a new penny, 2023 penny.
Connie, it's
Have you?
2024.
Yeah, well, this one was in 2023. This penny was, and it was all bright and shiny, all brand new. And when they handed it to me and they put it in my hand, I didn't even feel it hit my hand. I thought, what the devil is this thing made out of?
Mm,
And
yep,
I dropped it on the counter and it didn't make a sound.
just a little tinkle tinkle.
It didn't even make that. And then I found out that it was 2.5% copper. 2.5, by the way, 2.5% copper. And the rest of it was zinc. And I thought, do I eat it
Right,
or do I spend it? Because I
right,
probably need the zinc in my system, so who knows?
right.
I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was
Well, I
crazy.
mean, if you think about it, it started with the coin money because the penny used to be copper. Obviously, the nickel used to be nickel, and the dimes and quarters used to be silver.
Yeah, we don't got any of that going on right now. I'm telling you right now.
No,
We don't have
no,
any of that going on. We
nope.
don't even our pennies are they're a joke.
Mm-hmm.
They're a joke.
Yeah, yeah. And they think, that I'm kind of on the fence about the people that collect them and the ones that, that you can buy a whole unminted set of the new quarters that come out with all the states or all the animals or whatever is the flavor of the year. And these people pay money to collect this. What is it going to be worth? What is it going to be worth?
It ain't gonna be worth a doggone dime before it's all said and done. It ain't gonna be worth. In fact, Saudi Arabia just told Biden that our dollar ain't worth a dime to him. They won't even sell petroleum to us.
Do you know what I heard right before I came on? I heard that Russia is no longer accepting the euro or the dollar,
Yep,
and and that they're going possibly into a crash.
really, they are. Well, we're going to too. We're on our way. Don't worry. We might
Yeah,
crash before them.
yeah, yeah.
You know, let me paint a picture for you. Our president is putting out all of our reserve oil out into the government, out into the public, so that our gas prices won't go up. And now this has been for almost 4 years.
Mhm.
Because he stopped drilling when he got into office, so it's
Oh,
almost been
yeah.
4 years. So he's used all the reserve while he's flying back and forth within 2 or 3 days from Europe to Delaware, but it's like he's going across the street, and we got to worry about our gas and how we're going to get to work the next day because gas prices are so high. But what's
Yep.
going to happen when there ain't no oil left and it's all gone and the reserve is empty? What's going to happen?
You know what's
There
gonna
will,
happen?
go
People
ahead. I
won't
want you to tell me.
people won't get to work, and therefore they won't get their taxes. Ha! There
Well,
you go, Mr. Snowman.
we won't have no electricity because the major factories are run on petroleum,
Mhm.
and everything's run on electricity or water or
And
everything.
and those smart people, not that we're not smart, but those smart people and that can afford it, that are getting all those solar panels and things, it just came to me. Huh, go ahead, get the solar, because we're gonna fool you and we'll just make it rain all the time.
Oh well,
So
you know what?
if there's no sun, there's no power.
I got a big old joke for you. All right, so we're driving home and we come across this great big windmill factory. I mean,
Oh,
all
yeah.
these windmills, right?
Yep, yep.
And I'm looking at them, and one is moving out of 100.
Mhm.
One is moving, and I'm like, what good is any of this doing us? And then when I really got to looking, I thought, well, shoot, it would take a hurricane to get any of these windmills moving anyway because it's so doggone heavy. That how you gonna, you know? And and it was only moving by just a little bit. It was having a hard time moving, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
They can shut those off, right?
Well, they probably can, but you know what? Don't do no good. None of it is doing no good.
My uncle used to fix them in California. So,
Really?
yeah, they can shut them on and off.
Oh, I see. So there you go. Well, they're all off, but one was moving, and it was having a hard time moving.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, and this is powering what?
Right,
Somebody's what?
right.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's powering much because
Well,
it
I
wasn't moving too
do
fast.
I do know in California, they have 2 huge windmill, farms, if you wanna call them that,
Whatever they are,
and
that next to
they're,
it.
yeah, they're by Palm Springs, And I do know that the whole city of Palm Springs is powered by those.
You know,
So,
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you, we're this Green New Deal that everybody's all happy about going to be this green thing. Well, it sure ain't going to fly Marshmallow Head to Europe and back every
no,
time he decides he wants to go back to Delaware. You know what?
yeah.
He's embarrassing. He's embarrassing. I'd have
Oh,
had
did
him,
you
but
hear
he's
about that?
embarrassing.
Did you hear about that social media frenzy that every country in the world was in on with him in France? His little what they like to call gaffes. That's not a gaff. That's a poor old man that doesn't know what he's doing. That's what
And
that is. I mean,
well,
he didn't know whether to stand, he didn't know whether to sit, he didn't know whether to walk, he didn't know whether to and then he tells Macron, he's like, "Yeah, my senior advisors told me I have to leave first because I
well,
might
he was
fuck
looking for
people
his
up."
chair. Did you see him? Did you
Yes,
see him? He
yeah,
was looking for a chair, and there wasn't one there, and he was going to sit down, but there wasn't a chair there.
no, and then he was, like, squatting for, like, 30 seconds because he didn't know whether to stand up or sit down, and it's like, "Oh my god, can you just get rid of this man? He is such an embarrassment. He is such an embarrassment." And I mean, that was the laughing stock of social media
Because
over
we
the
look
weekend.
stupid.
Yeah.
Because we look stupid. And you know, I've gone on these sites where they say he is so good. He is the best president we've ever had. And I've always asked him, just give me one thing he's done good. Tell me one thing he's done good. One thing. That's all I
Oh,
want to hear. Just one
okay.
thing.
I can okay.
And they attack me. They tell me
That
they're gonna do something to my mama or whatever.
yeah, that
Stupid thing.
that leads me right into the one of the last things I was going to talk about, that he has taken care of the veterans better than Trump ever has.
Who
And
said that?
this was said by, let me get the proper name, Ronald Lackey, a retired major from the Air Force. And he said Trump has done nothing for the VAs. Or and yeah, for the vets. He's done nothing for them at all. And this is I'll give you a synopsis of what this man said about
That is
President.
unbelievable. That is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I'll give you a synopsis. When running for president in 2016, he skipped a Republican presidential debate for a fundraiser for veterans. And he raised $5 million in donations and he pledged $1 million of his own money. And it wasn't until they started investigating him that he released the money. And then he got fined by a judge for deceptive practices. But
That is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life.
that was number one. Number
Go ahead.
two,
I'm listening.
he canceled a visit to an American cemetery near Paris in 2018, although he falsely claims his helicopter couldn't fly in the rain. Everybody knows helicopters don't fly in the rain.
Well, no,
Um,
they don't. In fact, I don't even think some airplanes fly in the rain, do they?
and the Secret Service couldn't drive him there. And the truth was, this is what this man is saying. The truth
All right. I
was
want to hear the real
that he
truth.
wanted to keep his hair dry. So why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers. Yeah, he wanted to keep his hair dry. Right.
He's a loser. He's
Okay.
a loser. He's a
Here.
loser. I gotta tell you something, speaking of that he's a loser. When we went on vacation, at the place we were staying, they were having a VFW convention,
Mm,
and, while Clyde was checking us in, I was standing up against a wall, and, I was watching all these people walk by. Some of them had one leg, some of them had one arm, some were in wheelchairs, and I sat over there silently with little tears rolling down my eyes, thinking to myself, "You gave too much. You gave too much."
mhm.
There's a
Oh,
reason why a lot of our kids won't join the military. Why should
mhm.
they?
They get peanut pay, for one thing.
They're not taken care of.
No, when they get out, they're not taken care of.
Mm-mm.
But here is what this man had to say of your favorite marshmallow.
Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. He's been concerned with military members and veterans for decades. His late son was an Army officer and died of cancer that he was exposed to chemicals in wartime. He's driven a very personal commitment to the welfare of military families, and he has signed more than 2 dozen laws that benefit military members and veterans, including the PACT Act, which expanded the benefits and services for service members and veterans exposed to toxic chemicals. His administration also expanded healthcare and childcare and improved long term medical care and took steps to curtail veteran homelessness, lower health costs for the World War II vets that
Mhm.
are almost gone, and expanded support to military suicide. In addition, he improved medical appointments for the disabled veterans, proclaiming disability claim processing time, and delivered record benefits. He also established a task force to help protect military members and their family against financial
Mhm.
fraudsters and signed an executive order consisting of multiple actions designed to improve post military employment.
And that's why they're on our TV all the time asking for help, right? Right? Because
And
our government is taking such great care of them.
yep, and Trump has only shown contempt for our veterans.
You know what? You know what? That's a bunch of bull, and we need to take care of our American vets. We need to say prayers for our American vets because you know what? That those are some strong-hearted, God-loving, patriotic people that need to be taken care of. You know,
Right,
they're putting their lives on the line. Nobody
right,
wants to right now. Would you?
right.
I wouldn't put my life on the line for Marshmallow Head right now. Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
But I would if they came in and they attacked us on our ground. I'd be there
Right,
right there in a
right,
second because you know what? This is my country, and I'll
right,
be dadgum if they think they're gonna come in and take it. No, they ain't gonna take it, and
right,
that ain't gonna happen.
right. And yeah, I was reading Royal Apple's comment, prayers to the United States of America vets on it. Absolutely, absolutely prayers for those families. And
Absolutely.
and that some that went to war now have great benefits. That's because of Trump. And this marshmallow just all
Wants
he
to
did
take them
was
away.
extend it. All he did was extend it. If
Well,
he
he
really
wants
signed an executive order to improve their benefits, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy, but I know that the vets were happy when Trump was in
because they
because
were taken care of.
You know, they
They were taken care of.
they were. They were taken care of, and everything improved for them, and now it all went to hell in a handbasket again.
Did y'all know, speaking of, I'm glad we brought up the vet thing because all of a sudden this came to my mind and I got to tell y'all, did you know that about 50% of our homeless are vets
Mhm.
and they have problems mentally because they all
Mhm.
have PTSD? And now Trump made sure they were taken care of and they were off the streets and were being taken care of. And you know what, guys? They're back on the streets. They kicked them out of their places so they could bring in these immigrants
Okay, and I
and
ask you
give
this.
them their places.
I ask you this. They were put up in hotels, right?
Five-star hotels. Don't just say just a
No, no,
hotel.
the vets were put up in hotels,
Oh,
and
yeah.
five-star hotels also.
Hmm.
They were put up. Did you ever hear that they were destroying the hotels?
Never,
Did you ever hear of the damage they were causing?
never. Nope, they
But
weren't. They weren't.
then
They were just grateful that America was taking care of them.
and then they were kicked out for those immigrants, like you said. And
Yes,
guess
they
what?
were.
They all
Yes,
got
they
kicked
were.
out because why? Why? Because they were damaging the property so bad.
They were having great big parties and tearing up the doors and breaking down the windows and
Yep.
doing their thing. Come on, guys. That ain't America. We don't live like that. We never have lived like that.
You
Never.
know, and there's one thing I do, and I may be shot for this,
Go
but
ahead.
I do agree with the Chinese. They take care of their elders. Like they are the elders. They aren't seniors. They are elders.
They need to be taken care of because I'm telling you what, we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for them that they did their blood, sweat, and tears to make us where we are. You know what? I remember. I'm gonna tell you. I'm okay, and I'm old. All right, y'all know I'm old. But I'm gonna tell you right now. I wrote when I was 10 years old, and I was in the fourth grade. I wrote the newspaper, and I had an article in the newspaper that said we didn't take care of our elders then. And I said, you know what? They built this country. If it wasn't for them, they built this country. And you just throw them aside like old trash.
Do
Just
you
like
know now
old trash.
now that you said that, I remember my grandpa passed away suddenly when I was 7 years old. My grandmother was in her 50s. Early nah, she was in yeah, she was in her late 50s, maybe early 60s. Do you know how much Social Security she got from my grandfather?
Probably not much. I'm telling you.
$300 a month. That's why my mom and dad had to stay there because we were gonna my mom and dad were about to buy a house, and we had to stay there or my grandmother would have lost the house that her husband built for her.
See, now doesn't that just break your heart? That breaks that breaks my heart. I'm telling you, it breaks. Those people worked from the time my mima and my mama. My mama worked from the time she was 12 years old, and she worked. And then my papa said that wasn't going to happen. That she had to stay home with the kids. She had to, and thank God she did. But
Mhm.
but my mima worked hard. She worked in the cotton fields. She and pulled. Oh my God, she worked so hard, and She cooked from the time she was so little. She had to move a box up to the stove so she could reach the burner so she could cook to feed her family.
Yep, yep.
And then of
Now
course you ran off with some goofy guy, but
yeah.
yeah. But she did. She worked hard. My Meemaw worked so hard, and
Yeah.
They didn't take care of her like she should have been taken care of. They haven't
No.
taken care of any elderly that I've seen that should have
No.
been taken care of. Yep. Yep,
Yep.
I love my grandma, my grandpa, my meemaw, my peepaw. They were good people, and they worked their self to the bone. And what did it do? It helped America. It helped America. That's what I
Mhm.
gotta say.
Yep.
But Marshmallow Head, I don't. He'd been a senator or something forever. I don't think that's supposed to be a forever job, but
No, it's not. It
some
was not
people.
supposed to be. And Royal Apple, yes. Viva all grandpas. And I love Noni. That's funny because my grandkids call me Nona. So, yeah.
See,
Yep, they do. And every once in a while they slip out with Noni. So,
see, we're supposed to. I think I was hoping that when I got old enough, there's a time in your life that you think I'm gonna become a senior citizen. I'm gonna be old, be a grandma, grandpa, or whatever. Everybody looks forward to that day because they think, well, you know what, we'll get a little bit more respect. Then they just kind of toss you aside and they kind of forget you. And
yeah, I'm only a couple months away from that senior citizen title
well,
in all states. I mean, in Florida, I've been a senior citizen for a long time.
my
Um,
mama's still alive. My mama's still alive, and your mama's still alive, and
yeah.
they both deserve a they
Thank
deserve to be taken care of like queens. I'm
and
telling
you
you
know
right
what?
now.
Thank goodness that my mom had a pension or she'd be in trouble. Thank goodness she had a pension with and she has obviously with her social security. And she towards the end, obviously my dad was older than her and with his health and everything, he didn't work, so his social security was low. But I mean, when she retired, they were getting my dad's social security, her social security, and her pension. So they were doing well. And then my dad passed and, so I mean, she does get more social security than my dad was, but it's still for somebody that worked for 32, 35 years because she didn't go to work until I was 7. So, she was lucky enough because being able to stay at my, grandparents' house, um, my mom was able to stay home with us kids.
Well, and then you got to stop and think with the inflation the way it's going. They might have saved up enough money to think they were going to do all right with the Social Security and everything, and then the inflation. And I don't
Mhm.
know what everybody else is going through, but my property tax, well, the property taxes are always been kind of high, but my homeowners insurance doubled
They
doubled.
they had a special on that. I don't know if it was on our local news or if it was on, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, and they said how house insurance has skyrocketed.
Yeah, and you don't have a choice. You gotta have it. You
Mhm.
gotta have it.
Yep,
If you got a mortgage, you have to have insurance to cover it.
yep,
So it's unbelievable.
yep.
You know what, little Carolyn, you're probably right. Honey, let me give you a little secret. By the time I get old enough for Social Security, it probably won't be there because our wonderful president is giving all of our money to everybody.
You
So
know
don't
you know
worry, they won't even have any when I get there, and I'm not far.
you know what, Connie? We should do we should look up the laws of Social Security because Social Security when it was started, it was never, ever supposed to be touched. Not to borrow against it, not nothing.
No, nope, it
So,
wasn't.
I mean, maybe us people that are getting up there, maybe we should look into it for everybody, and maybe we should see if we can do something against the government for what they've done to Social Security.
All right, well let's go here. All right, I'm gonna show how my brainy is.
See,
All
and you
right,
say you're stupid.
all right. Well, I'm gonna tell you how brainy my brainy is. There's a thing that's called a straw man account. Have you
Right.
ever heard of it?
Yeah.
A straw man account is when every child is born. Okay, whenever child is born on their birth certificate, they got a number. We're all numbered, but the birth certificates are numbered also. So they have a straw man account. And what our government does is every person born gets a certain amount of money, right? So it goes into an account. And they figure by the time we get such and such age, we're worth this much money. It's
Yep.
kind of like cattle,
Yep.
right? But it's supposed to be ours. Yeah, right. Look it up. Look how much our government is borrowed against our lives. It's amazing. It's
Well,
amazing.
and to add on to that, to let you know, nobody has their original birth certificate because the government has it.
Yeah, because it's got
So,
they probably
so
got that
when
numbered.
when the hospital sends you the original birth certificate,
Right.
it's really not. It's really not. And the other thing is that on if you turn your birth certificate over, it's got all of your jobs listed, how much money you made, everything on the back. They keep track of you. They've been keeping track of you since the minute you were born. Everybody's all up in arms about Alexa and about the phones and about they've been keeping track of you since you were born.
It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, that what they've done is they've bar. So think about it like this. When they talk about the national deficit, okay, and they say, well, we're $32 trillion in debt. Well, guess what? You've been their collateral the whole time.
Yep. Yep. That's for sure.
It's not right. It's not right. I really don't want to be somebody's collateral.
Yep. That's
I
for sure.
It is the most craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't, when it comes down to uh I mean, kind of hurts my feelings a little bit when they trade off cattle the way they do, but they're using us like collateral. Nowadays, they don't even send them to you. You have to go to the courthouse to get them. Shaking my head. They charge you. See, yeah, they're going to charge you for something that's already yours.
Yep, they do.
Ye-
They've been doing that for a while because I remember
That's ridiculous. That's
I remember
ridiculous.
yeah, my first husband needed his birth certificate. Boy, was that a trip trying to get that. And we actually had to go down to the hospital because they still kept the records at the hospital back in the 80s. It was early 80s, 81. So anyway, yeah, we had to go down there, but that was a story in itself because he didn't know his mother's name, he didn't know her last name, he didn't know her and his dad didn't remember. And it was crazy trying to get it. And do you know on his birth certificate it had no mother's last name? I've never seen that.
That's weird.
Mhm. Yep.
Well, and you know that there was a mother. There had to been a
Well,
mother.
yeah, there
There
had to
had
be.
been a mother somewhere. There had to been a mother. All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to start off my wonderful news just a little bit, and
Okay.
I'm sure that Lynn will be more than happy to chime right in because this is a goodie.
Before
So
you
we're gonna
start,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
welcome, Broken Shadow Feather, and thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button for us.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So my news for the day is let's talk about Hunter Biden. Hey,
Yay!
let's talk about Hunter Biden just got indicted for 3 felonies. Let's talk about that. Y'all want to? Didn't take him very long to find guilty, just like it didn't take him very long to find Trump guilty, right? And this
Oh,
was in his hometown.
yeah. Yeah.
And did you notice that Hunter didn't seem to be too worried about it? Did you notice how he kind of gave a great big grin when he walked out the door?
Did you notice he was holding stepmommy's hand?
Did you notice that he had a Glock on the side of his pants? I did.
Hey, I thought you couldn't have guns in a courthouse.
I'm not supposed to, but he did. And I thought, that's a gun case. That's a Glock case.
Yeah.
And he's carrying it on his pants on the side. Oh, but we're gonna get him on gun charges. Oh, and by the way, let me ask you something, guys. Let's talk about something funny about this whole case because this whole case was about stupid.
You can't fix stupid.
Oh, you can't fix stupid. I'm telling you, can't fix stupid. All right, he said he didn't know he was an addict. Hey, he didn't know he was an addict, but he did cocaine every 21 minutes, but he didn't know he was an addict.
Right.
What? For how many years? Actually, it took years for something to actually stick to Trump. They've been trying. Well, and actually, you know what, Carolyn? Let me tell you about that. The jury went in and deliberated on a crime that they didn't even know what the crime was.
They still don't know.
They still don't know. Nobody knows what he's really convicted of because there really wasn't a crime. That's the funny part. He
Yep.
had 34 misdemeanors that they made one big old felony. But Hunter Biden said that he didn't know that he was an addict because he only did his cocaine every 21 minutes. So I guess you had to do it every 5 minutes to be an addict.
Connie, the epiphany. That's the Biden's defense. They don't know and don't remember. Isn't that what Daddy said about the files?
Oh, well, okay. So let's talk about that too. I'm ready to go there. So Marshmallow Head had all of these files in his garage that he wasn't supposed to have, and they weren't even just when he was vice president. They were going back when he was a senator. He wasn't supposed to have any of them damn files, none of them, right? But he had them next to the Corvette that was leaking oil all over him, and next to whatever and
And in
whatever.
the
They were right
Chinese
out there.
restaurant.
And he got his $8 million book deal from him. Wow. Wow, he got $8 million for his book deal. And he was telling people stuff that he wasn't even supposed to tell anybody. And he was telling them.
Yep.
Anyway, this is the truth, guys. This is really the truth. And they said, well, he can't stand trial because he's an elderly man and he's kind of fragile in the brain. But he can run our country. Are y'all serious right now? Really want to go there? We got Russian subs sitting outside, and we got Russian warships sitting off of the coast of Florida, but he can't stand trial for being an idiot.
Preach it,
Oh
sister,
my
preach it.
God, I
Ah,
can't get over it. I can't get
oh,
over it. They go, oh, he is kind of fragile in the brain, but he can run for president.
you
And
know
he's
what?
fragile?
You
Well,
know,
he must not be too damn fragile because he's running for president.
we should send into one of the news stations in Delaware. Well, it wouldn't work. To ask Hunter Biden, what is the definition of an addict? His
He don't
definition.
know. He don't know because he didn't know he was one. And then he said, oh, this gets even better. And then he said, I have been totally sober and I am on the path to sobriety since October. October when? October last year, October this year. Because
Well,
there was cocaine in the White House at the first of the year. I know there was. And it had to belong to him.
I mean, you could see him on the balcony.
And then he had a baby that he said wasn't his, but it was because
Right.
I'm telling you what, the hunt will happen to Hunter.
You know what's so sad about that whole baby story
But then we
is
got another case September.
not only did Hunter deny that child, but so did Marshmallow Head. That's despicable.
Well, you know what? I'm now that we brought that up, I gotta say something else too. I was sitting there thinking, all right, so if Biden runs for presidency and he can't stand up in court because he's too fragile, but they're making him run for president. Don't you think for a second that it was Jill that don't want to get out of the White House because she's such a slob? She wants to stay
Mhm.
there because she loves the attention. She used to be the babysitter, by the way.
Right.
Um, because Hunter ain't here, hers. None of those kids are hers, and the daughter committed suicide. Um, oh my God, don't Connie, shut your mouth. But I'm telling you right now, um,
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble.
he he is something else again, and she don't want to leave the White House. So
Nope.
I looked up the rules and the law about elderly abuse.
Okay, here we go.
Isn't she, isn't she guilty of elderly abuse? Don't you think that isn't it? Don't you think that it's a crime if you put somebody in a position they don't need to be in or can't handle because you want to stay in the White House? Don't you think that that's crime? Well, guess
You would
what?
think.
It ain't. She
What?
didn't. No, she didn't pinch him. She didn't hit him. She didn't kick him. Yeah, I was kind of shocked. I was very shocked.
Wow. That
Yeah,
surprises me. That really, really surprises me.
yeah, I looked it up. I looked it up. Nope, she's free of all of it. You can put him in the White House all you want to, and he can stay there and she can stay there because it is an elderly abuse.
Hmm. Royal Apple, we covered that Russian ships in
They're
Cuba at
there.
the beginning.
They're there.
Um, I find that amazing. I find that
And
amazing.
by the way, Royal Apple, if you look up in your skies, because they've been flying overhead in California and they've been flying overhead in Texas, you got your B 2 bombers too. If you look up,
She's in the Midwest.
no,
So
she ain't. Royal Apple's over there in California.
oh no, no, no. I'm thinking of KMM.
Yeah, no, Royal Apple's over there in California. If she looks up, she'll see them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
How
It's
sad.
amazing. It's amazing to think what they've gotten away with and things they've done to us. Oh, and by the way, I want you to know that they said that that we're growing too much food for the cattle, so we're gonna not grow any food anymore for the cattle because it costs too much. So we'll just let them starve to death, and we're gonna grow meat in a lab, and we're all gonna be happy because we're all gonna eat it.
Yeah,
It ain't happening.
let me get
I know
1,000
I'm
pounds of
repeating
that.
that. I know I'm repeating that, but it ain't happening. I
Let me
ain't
get it.
eating their meat that they grew in no lab. Sorry.
Let me get 1,000 pounds of that, please.
That ain't happening. I ain't eating their meat. You know what? That's like Fauci and his stupid masks and everything else. And by the way, don't worry, they're going to have another lockdown before too long too, because you know the bird flu, you know that X virus. X virus. It's the X virus.
Yeah.
It's worse than COVID. It's the X virus. Oh, give me a break. It is a damn flu just like the rest of it was. And we
Oh,
all went through it and we all lived through it from day one, from the time I was born.
yeah, but this one is special because you have to stay 20 feet apart, not 6, because it's worse than COVID, and you have to wear 7 masks. And, let's see, what else did they say? Oh, they said,
It is put one right over the other one. Wear 7 of them, and if you
yeah,
don't
and
suffocate, then I guess you'll
and
be okay.
you can't sleep in the same bed with your spouse or significant other, and, only one person can be in a room at a time, so you can't watch TV together.
See, this is what I'm telling you. And then, oh, and by the way, now that she's told you all that, we got to talk about how the population of the United States is in decline. Yeah, it's in decline because you know what? We got to stay 6 feet away from everybody because you know what? They may have COVID or they might have X flu or whatever, bird flu or whatever. So you got to stay 6 feet. I don't know anyone that's got anything that long that can go 6 feet that's going to be able to procreate, make any kind of babies.
Well, you know what? Here's what I find so funny is even the men that went off the deep end with this COVID thing and went and got their 1,000, I apologize, guys. I forgot to turn my ringer off. Got their 1,000 vaccine boosters and all of that. Um, yeah. Even those guys still wanted sex with their wives.
Well, sure they did, but you know what? They had to be 6 feet away from each other, so I guess they were supposed to sit on the other side of the room. I want y'all to have visual here, okay? Ready for this? I want you to visual that your husband is in one corner of the room and you're in the other side of the room, and he's doing his thing and you're doing your thing because y'all have to stay 6 feet apart. And but we need to populate the country. Now, when you wrap your head around that and you figure out how we can populate and how they can shoot that across the room 6 feet,
But wait a minute. Wait a
it's going to
minute.
die airbound, I think.
Wait a minute.
Anyway, go ahead.
We'll have to depopulate because there's too many people, but now we're declining.
Well, no, that was the reason they said we had to open up our borders because we are in decline. We're not populating the way we're
And then
supposed to. So we
maybe
have to open up our
China.
borders and let all these people in because you know what? We don't have enough people.
Maybe they
This
should
was their
China.
excuse. Really, I ain't joking. And I thought, who came up with that? Who was thinking about that? Well, you know what? That must have been somebody staying up all night long thinking about stupid stuff because I don't get it. I How the heck are you supposed to populate when you're supposed to stay 6 feet apart? And besides all that, who can afford to have any kids now anyway? Because they're expensive. They were expensive when I was bringing up my two, but they're way expensive now, and they're even more expensive. They just keep going up. Kids keep going up higher and higher. You
I
know,
think I think that's why more and more people are going back to breastfeeding. Have you seen the price of formula? Have you
no.
seen the price of formula? Next time you go to the grocery store, just happen down the baby aisle, a can,
Well, you know
real
what?
big.
I couldn't breastfeed because you know what, they gave me thyroid pills and they said
Mm,
you can't breastfeed because I don't know, maybe I made mine too smart. I don't know, but they said that I couldn't breastfeed because I was taking thyroid pills. You know what? And then they gave all of our formula. Remember that one time they gave
yeah,
all of our formula to who? To
yeah,
the immigrants that were coming in. And
yep,
our babies didn't have any. You know, we're all right. I got 6 people in this audience, right? And
yep.
y'all are very smart people. Each and every one of you are extremely smart. And I want one of you to tell me one damn thing that Marshmallow Head has done for our country. Just one. I just want to hear one. Just one. I can hear a pin drop
I can hear crickets.
because he ain't done one thing but make your life miserable. So, I was in a chat room and they were telling me what a wonderful job and he was the best president we ever had. And I asked the same question, and there were 2,400 people in that chat room.
Good
Yep. See, I
Lord.
can hear. You're absolutely right. I hear feathers blowing too, because you know what? It ain't happening. He ain't done one thing for our country, not for you or anybody
Oh, wait.
else.
Nope. Nope. I thought of something.
Oh my God, did you have to think that hard?
I did. I had to think that hard.
Well, you better be a good one. Oh, he destroyed our country.
That didn't
That's
help.
what he did.
That didn't
That's
help.
what he did. Great.
No, nope. You know what he did? He helped the transgender and pride people.
Oh, oh, well, they were on their way up and coming anyway. And you're absolutely right,
Hi,
Sandra.
Sandy.
They did. He did ruin our economy. He ruined our economy. He crashed our banks. He raised our oh, we haven't. Y'all don't know yet, but he's getting ready to raise our taxes. That hadn't happened yet, but it's getting ready to happen if he gets into office because he's already said he's got to cover the money he's given to the Ukraine.
Did we
So
ask for that? Did we say, yeah, okay, send billions and billions and billions of dollars?
I would
Because
like somebody to let me handle my own money, and I'd go myself on a Tahitian cruise or
there you
something
go.
before I gave it to the Ukraine so they could do whatever they're doing with it.
They're
And then I'm gonna
laundering it for the Democrats.
sure they are because you know what? We're giving them our weapons. What do we need? What do they need money for? We're giving them our weapons. We're giving them our oil. We're giving them everything.
Yeah,
I
and
don't get it.
if they have, this is the other thing I don't understand is that if they're getting all that money to help them, obviously they're not helping their people because their people are starving.
Well, okay, so let's go there. Let me say something
Yes,
about that.
very
Let me
elaborate.
say something about that. When your country is run by an ex-stripper, you need to think about that a little bit. Ours is ran by somebody who they call incognito. But their country, that guy's not incognito. He's younger than I am, and he was a stripper. Yeah, let's think about that for a second. And he's getting, and we're giving him billions of dollars. Yeah, no, we and our military stuff. He's sticking that money in his G string, and I can guarantee you it's coming back over here, and we ain't seen a damn dime of it. But we got to raise your taxes because you know what? We got to cover that money we sent over there. It is Royal Apple. It is pure evil. Pure evil.
Oh, and Royal Apple on that, I saw a little scrolly thing at the bottom, like we have, on Newsmax, and it said that the G7 is cracking down on humanitarians because they're not people in Gaza are starving to death.
Okay,
Um,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Now I want to talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Um, so I found this to be kind of odd. So, we're gonna all right. I want y'all to picture this because this is really what's going on. This is like I said, I'm gonna tell you the news the way the news really is. I ain't covering up
that's
nothing because they
that's
don't
what we
take anything.
do.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna tell you the way it really is. All right. So Gaza is ran by a government that's called Hamas. And Hamas has their buildings and their homes and the way they're underground. While they put all of their people in the homes above them, and all the children are running in the streets, and they've got apartments and houses and everything all above them because they live underground because they're cockroaches, right?
Yep.
Because they're cockroaches.
Yep.
And and then they came running out and they thought they could go over to Israel and they could kill all these people and then they could capture all these people and then they could run home and get right back underground like a cockroach that they are.
Right.
And we weren't supposed, and Israel wasn't supposed to do anything
Right.
to defend themselves. Well, I'm going to tell you something. uh Connie's got a little evil mind, and before I don't even think that Netanyahu thought about it, but I would have flooded the place. I'd have opened up the seas and I'd have let the water run right through that underground house of theirs and
Absolutely.
flooded it. But see,
Absolutely.
but they didn't because they had hostages. So
Right.
they were thinking about their hostages.
Right.
You know what? Hamas ain't nothing worse. That is pure evil. That is another pure evil.
Yep. Okay. I want to touch on this. Yes, Lauren, it does sound like hummus. And that's what it is, just a bunch of ground up, worthless
Yeah,
chickpeas.
it is hummus.
And Royal Apple, yes, it's sad that the children are hungry in Gaza. I would love to feed them too. But there's kids here starving too. So, what they should be figuring out is how to stop hunger in children around the world.
You know what, Royal Apple, this is what I want to say, and I love you with all my heart, and I'm going to say this to you. Those children should have never been a shield for those
Right,
evil people in the first place.
right.
Those little children should have never had to been a shield to cover up for those cockroaches. Um, we got 65,000 children that have disappeared. That has
Right,
came over our border and they've just disappeared in the middle of thin air.
right.
Nobody can find them. They don't know where they
Yep.
went.
And the real crime is that they they use these children and they're pawns. They don't care about kids. They don't care. To me, it's just um they're looking for something else. Yeah, there probably are there are probably are kids starving. I'm not going to disagree with you with that, But there's always a catch when they say, "Please feed our hungry children."
But you know what,
And
Royal Apple?
then they use the children as pawns, and then they use the children because women and children in other countries
Eat
are
after the dog.
yeah,
The dog eats first. But I'm going to tell you this, Royal Apple. In the Bible, there's only two things. Two things. Let me tell you something. There's only two things in the Bible that are a total sin. You can do whatever you want to. If you don't like somebody being gay, that ain't in the Bible. That ain't a sin in the Bible. It says it's unspeakable, but it doesn't say it's a sin. You know what the two sins are? Is one is saying there is no God. That
yeah,
is one of them that
yeah,
it will be unforgiven. And the other one is don't mess with the innocent. Don't mess with the innocent. And they're doing that. And you know what? Lord have help. Lord have mercy on their souls because you mess with the innocent. And I mean, babies, you are in big trouble because that's the innocent.
yeah. And the only reason I say that is because I remember years ago, and I can't remember what happened, but it probably was a hurricane or something, maybe Katrina, I don't know. But I remember that we had, the 18-wheeler trucks parked outside grocery stores here in Michigan to get food down to the people because they couldn't get food. They didn't have
Louisiana.
anywhere.
Yep. And I
And
remember they brought them down here.
no, they found those trailers in New York City with rotten food in 'em.
Oh.
It never got to where it was supposed to go.
Well, the Katrina people that were over there in their super center or whatever, they brought them down here.
No.
They put them in, and they came down here, and I couldn't believe it. So I had to go. Me and Mama had to go down there and check it out, and they were all wandering around there. And then I had one of them come in that they came in for an eye exam, and you know what? She told me the horrific things that happened in that
Mhm.
super center. I'm going to tell you something. Humans are a bad species. There's some you put a bad chef in the lot. There's You're not going to come up with anything that's great. Something's going to be poisoned. And I'm
Mhm.
telling you, there was some horrific things that happened in that super center.
Mhm.
Horrible, horrible things. People jumped out of windows in that
Mhm.
super center. Women were raped in that super center
Oh,
and
yeah.
they jumped out and killed themselves. So you know what? Has
Mhm.
our government, I'm gonna be honest with you. When the only president we've ever had that's ever taken care of the people has been Trump. And I'm sorry if y'all don't like that. He says his nasty stuff and he is he's a bold person. You know what? And I'm gonna tell you, Connie can be pretty bold too. And my boldness is going to tell you right now, I'd rather somebody tell me what I've heard him say than what I have seen these others do and tell me how great they are.
Yeah, and here's the other thing I want to tell you guys. It's okay to donate to charities and things, but please do your research before you do. I have quit donating to so many things because of the fact that I found out Salvation Army. Do you know what the CEO gets paid?
Well, do you know how much the people get paid in there? And that bell ringer at Christmas gets paid too.
And think about it. Think about this. You are giving them clothes and they turn around and sell them for a huge profit. Did you ever go through the Salvation Army clothes? Did you ever go in the store and try and
Linda,
shop?
I got a better one for you. When you drop off your bag of clothes, all those people that work there are going through them before they ever even get on the
Yep.
shelf,
And
and then taking them home.
this is how I found out. is because, unfortunately, 14 years ago, I know I've mentioned it before, had a house fire and we lost everything. Didn't even have a toothbrush. So I figured, I'm just going to go and start getting a few things because I need something now, and I didn't have a lot of cash because my cash burnt up in the fire. So I started going to a few of the thrift stores and Salvation Army. And then I started doing research and finding out that that pet one that makes the god awful commercials out of New York, the ASCPA or something,
Mm-hmm.
do not, do not. My mom was giving to them and I got her to stop. That CEO makes $52 million a year and and gets bonuses of 10 million or more.
See, doesn't that just make you sick? Doesn't that make you
Exactly.
sick?
It makes me sick. That's why I say, please do research. Make sure they're nonprofit. Make sure that the CEO isn't a multi millionaire from their sitting in their chair. And just be careful because it can be on TV, guys, and it can still be a scam. It can be a scam.
Well, that I
You have
will
to
work
find the
for
proof.
food. You know the
Yep.
guys out there that stand out there and say, "I will work for food." Um, sad to say, somebody followed one of them home and found out they lived in the rich part of Denver, and he lived in multi-million-dollar home. And you know, as Americans, we're good people.
Yep.
We love our neighbors. We take care of our
Yep.
neighbors. We look at them and think, "Oh dear God,
Yep.
they're in bad times. They're having
Yep.
bad times. I'm going to help them out."
That
And
happened
then
in Florida. That happened in Florida. There was a woman out there with a kid. She was out there all day panhandling and asking for money and blah 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 blah. And somebody
that's
walked
what I'm going to be doing, Linda. I'm going to be panhandling on the corner up
right,
here on the corner.
right, because her husband picked her up in a Mercedes Benz and drove to one of the richest areas of Florida with his big
See,
old house.
see, I'm going to tell you, the Bible says, okay, I'm going to tell you, the Bible says to give 10% of
Right.
what you make. All
Yeah.
right, because that's the way it's supposed to be. But I'm going to tell you something. This is the way I feel in my heart. If you help somebody that really needs help, and you give them whatever they need, I think that's 10%.
I do too.
I think that I believe in my heart that I have done my 10%. I have given my 10%
Mhm.
because I'm helping somebody who really needs the help.
Mhm.
And I will. I'll be more now.
Yep.
I would help anybody in a heartbeat if they need it. Sometimes
Right.
I help people that don't need it and I don't realize it until after it's done.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, I told you that story of going to the dollar store after, that house fire. And, I had a few dollars, and the little old lady in front of me was going to put back her tuna fish and
yep,
just get cat food. And I
yep.
paid for her order. And, my son was like, What? You don't have anything. It's like, I have more than her right now.
Well,
You
that
know?
was like the lady in the wheelchair that she went up there and they went to the pharmacy. She didn't have the money and she said, "Okay, well, I'll give you what I have right here and take back what I
Yeah.
don't have money for."
Right.
And then she rolled off and I said, how much did she owe for the rest of her medication? I think it was like $21. It wasn't whatever at that
Right.
time.
Right.
And I said, "Well, let me pay it because you know what? It may be important and she needs her medication." And I paid it.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you about your 10%. Do you know what you can do? Sometimes you see somebody who you know and you feel it in your heart, you know that they just don't have it, and you pay for their whatever they're carrying behind you,
Mhm.
do you know what that does to their heart?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it blossoms, and I'm gonna tell you, things like that, blessings like that, they spread, and
And
they
you know
spread
what else?
fast.
And you know what else? It could brighten up their day so much that somebody did that, you might have just prevented a suicide.
Yep, in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different ways.
Because, I mean, there are people out there that are so desperate and so hopeless. So hopeless. I mean, think of the times when, it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And, something always comes to light. But I mean, these people are on the streets already. And some of them are not by choice. Some of them are, because of the stupidity going on in the country, and that has been going on and off in the country for years. I know after 9/11, my brother was devastated. Devastated. He had his own business. He was a multimillionaire. He retired at 42, and 9/11 hit and he lost everything. Everything. I mean, that's horrible. I
You
mean,
know what, Royal Apple, you're absolutely right. The devil is the poor one, and God that blesses us is a God of many and is one of the richest and most powerful there is. But you know what? Chase Bank Mortgage don't maybe they don't believe, but
right,
they want
right,
their money. They want their
right.
money, and sometimes it's a little tough giving them their money. But you know, or the landlord that's up the street. You know, he knows the devil ain't worth dink, but he knows that he's got to pay his mortgage or pay whatever, and he's coming looking for his money. And when it
Yeah,
ain't there, it ain't there. And you do
right.
everything you can and you pray, and it's still not there, you know, but God always will provide. Eventually, He will. You're right. He will. He's always there.
Mhm. Yep,
But in these times right now, this is the devil's time. He's doing his time, and he
yep.
is making our life as tough as he can. And boy,
Well, I'll
he's
tell
doing
you
great.
what.
We are right now, our country, you know, the national deficit is $32 trillion. Well, I want you to know that the credit card debt of Americans is almost as high as the national deficit. So, does that tell you something?
Yep, yep.
People don't
Now,
have the money, they're putting it on their credit card.
I do have a good story, and it's take it for what you want, how you want to take it, and you tell me, listeners out there, you guys tell me what you think this is. Now, I told you my mom's on Social Security with a pension, but as with everything, her property taxes went up. The house is paid for, but the property taxes went up. And she was worried about having the money to pay the property taxes. Now, I don't know how it is where you guys live, but I know the city she lives in, they will allow a payment plan, but she hates doing that. So I went over there because my mom is legally blind. I think I've mentioned that before. And I go over there and I pay her bills for her. And I'm opening the mail, and there was a check in there made out to my dad that's been passed away for 9 years. There was a check in there for almost, well, I'm not going to give a figure, but there was a check in there for quite a bit sum of money. And she's like, oh, that's got to be one of those scams. And I thought the same thing. So I called the bank, which happened to be Synchrony Bank. So I looked up the number and I called and I said, hey, you sent this. Did you send this check to my father? And they looked it up and they said, yes, we did. It's a refund from a credit card. It is enough to pay her taxes and have a little bit extra for her for the holidays or if there's an emergency or whatever.
See, God
And
watches out. He
and
does,
I,
Royal.
and of course I needed my dad's social security number, so she's very forgetful, but she still remembers his social security number. God love her. And I gave it to them, and she's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Mom, I called them. This is not, they didn't call me. I called them."
Right.
And told them that my father was passed away, and they reissued the check while I was on the phone, and they're sending it in her name, and she will get it within 7 to 10 days.
Amen, Royal Apple. Good on your mama. You know what? I'm telling you, God watches over, unanswered prayers all the time. All the time. God's good every day. Every day, He's
Have
good.
you ever heard of a credit card company giving you a refund? And now,
Never.
mind you,
Never.
my father's been passed away for 9 years.
Never.
It was like, I says, Mom, I know there was a lawsuit against a few of the credit card companies with their interest rates and some of the funniness that went on with what they did. I said, so I know there were, people looking into it. I just never knew it manifested into anything, and it must have. It
That's
must have.
awesome.
I
That's
mean,
awesome. That's
yep,
awesome.
yep, yep. So right there, God works in mysterious ways,
He
and you
does.
have to. There's no explanation for that. There's no you're absolutely right, Royal Apple. It was a miracle. And
Yep.
you know what? If ever anybody deserved a miracle, it's my mother.
Yep.
God love her.
Amen.
She's
Amen. Thank
gone
God for our elderly.
she's gone to hell and back. I mean, she didn't have a miserable life, but it wasn't everything that she wanted, just like all of us. She's struggled just like all of us. And she goes to church every morning. She's 86 years old, and she gets up and goes to 7 a.m. mass. She lives a block from the church. She walks to mass every morning, winter, spring, summer, fall, you name it. She goes to church every morning, and she gives more than 10% a month to the church. And then she gives to a couple different things that she gives to, like, I think it's I can't remember the whole thing, but Francis of Assisi, she gives to them. She gives to a few charities, and, you know
Royal Apple, I gotta tell you another one. This will make y'all giggle. All right, so
yeah,
my mama is 85, and she'll be 86 this year. And she don't go to church. She used to be a Sunday school teacher, but she don't go anymore. She stays at home, and she knows the Bible from front to back and can quote scripture better than any person I've ever seen. That's probably why I can quote it. And I'm going to tell you something. She sends money. Poor little thing. She lives on fixed income, Social Security, not much money. But she sends to the disabled veterans and the police department and
God
gives
love
a
her.
little bit to everyone. And I said, Mama, would you quit sending all the money to everybody? And she said, I can't do my 10%, but I can help these disabled veterans and stuff. And my heart just shatters because I think I don't give to nobody.
Even
I,
$5, even $5.
I give what I can.
God bless her heart. I
I
mean,
give what I can, but I don't give. I give different things,
mhm,
different areas. But
I
oh
do
no,
the same thing.
my mama, and she is so funny. I want to tell you, she gets things in the mail because disabled. Do you know they were sending her? I got to tell you something funny. So the March Dimes was sending her a dime and everything because they wanted her to send money, right? All right. So they sent her a dime and she kept stacking it up. And I said, "What is all this over here?" And she goes, "Well, those are the dimes that the March Dimes keeps sending me." And I said, are you giving them money? And she goes, "No, but they kept sending me a dime." And she goes, "And I'm gonna add it pretty soon. I'm gonna send it all back to them."
Oh, God love her. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I said,
See,
"Well,
and these are the people we're not taking care of, and we have to try and do it. And after us, it's going to be a free for all. It's going to be, there's no God anywhere in
I gotta
anybody.
tell you, I gotta tell you, I have. You know what? This little Carolyn that's in this audience is my niece, and she's got a heart bigger than Texas, and she'd
Aw,
give the shirt off her back if somebody really needed it.
good for you. Good for you. And good for your mama for raising you that way.
Well, we're all kind of gluttons for punishment,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Well, see, and that's the thing is we were raised to love and help people.
yes, we were.
And, I mean,
Yes, we were.
I raised my boys to be like that, but sometimes society gets the best of them, you know. I'm not saying they're not kind-hearted. I'm not saying that they don't help people. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying they're not at the level that we're at, you know.
No,
And then the
no.
ones below them, now my sons are 42 and 30, he'll be 38. Um But anything below that, anything like 30-ish, they're too selfish. And if you ask these people that are in their mid 30s or 30s, I don't, or even 20s, I don't want kids. Well, why? I mean, why don't you want kids? And 9 out of 10 times they'll say because I'm too selfish. Well, you know what? Thank you for not bringing kids into this world. And if you're
Well,
that selfish,
there's some people that aren't supposed to procreate,
right, right,
and I've seen a couple of them that I thought to myself, I hope you don't have any children. I'm just looking at you, and I hope you don't have any
right,
children.
right,
I'm
right,
sorry, dear God, forgive me for what I just said, because they might
yeah,
have had perfect children. They might have had the most beautiful children in the world,
yeah, yeah. And
but they didn't look so great.
Royal Apple, bless your dad. And you know what? I mean,
You know what? He is right now. He has got his angel wings. I'm telling you right now.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? I can relate to that because, I was a teen mom and I got married and had a kid when I was 19. I got pregnant when I was 18 and he was born right after I turned 19. I know what hunger is because when he
Mhm.
started eating food, I would buy, say, 2 chicken legs because I wasn't a big eater. I would buy 2 chicken legs and a can of vegetables for dinner. And by God, if that child was hungry, he had both chicken legs and 3/4 of that can of green beans, if not the whole thing. And he was maybe 3.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I made sure he ate. I always made sure he ate. Always. But I mean, I remember being pregnant and I was married and I remember being pregnant and there were some nights that I would have a baked potato for dinner. So I get it. I've been there. I can honestly say I've been there. I know to worry about where your next meal is going to come from. And thank God I have the family I have because I would have never survived. My
Yep.
son,
I've been
my
there.
son never would have survived.
I've been there. I know
Mhm.
all about that stuff. And you know what? That's what makes us tough. That's what
Yeah.
makes us strong.
Then
That's
that's
what's going to
exactly
help us. That's what's going to help us through these upcoming times that
Yep.
are coming. Now, y'all, I want to know because some of y'all weren't in here when Linda confessed that everybody's over there saving their sugar, and I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
know who in this audience has been going and getting sugar and flour and salt since I said that.
Yeah, because
I
you know
want to
what,
know
then?
who's stockpiling
At
the
at the
sugar and
beginning,
the
I
flour and the
well,
salt since I told you that.
yeah, and at the beginning, I started out well, one of the few things I started out with, there is a president, and I cannot remember what country he's from, but that whole country is stockpiling flour, sugar, salt, and oil. We didn't think about oil, but you may need it.
Well, I just kind of figured I'd use fat off of, I can use
Right.
fat back all the time, but
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, because you're from
well,
down south.
but that's smart. You're
Yeah,
right. That's smart. You can use bacon
right,
grease, stick it in the
right.
refrigerator. It works really good. But yeah, you're
You
right.
can afford the bacon.
Yeah, you probably will.
Oh, good for you, Royal Apple. Do what's healthy for you.
No, Royal Apple, I'm gonna tell you. I know sugar's bad for you, honey. I understand that. But get your sugar because it's a good bartering tool. It ain't that you got to use it.
Right, right.
It's a good bartering tool when you can't get it. And you could say, hey, you know what? I got this 5 pound bag of sugar. Maybe you want some of their honey,
Or
you know,
eggs
or
or whatever.
eggs or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Because it's getting down to the point that that's going to be us.
yeah.
You don't realize where this is going. Let me ask you a question here. All right, I think I already asked it once, but now I got some people in here. Um, so the president, if you want to call him that, he's using up all of our oil reserve because he don't want to. I don't know what he don't want to do, but he don't want to drill oil,
Right.
and he wants to buy it from everywhere else. And now they told us in Saudi Arabia they won't even take our dollar because our dollar sucks, I guess. But anyway, um, so when he uses all our oil, there won't be any oil. There won't be any gasoline. What are y'all gonna do? What are y'all gonna do? There won't be any way to drive a car. What are y'all gonna do?
Yep.
That's a thought to think of, huh?
Mhm.
And they want to put all these solar fields all over everywhere, and they want to put all these. We went by a windmill farm that there was 100 windmills, and only one of them was halfway turning. And I thought, boy,
Mhm.
that's a waste of time and
Mhm.
property. I'd rather feed the cows that they said we weren't supposed to feed.
Right.
It's amazing, guys. It's amazing.
Oh, what I also heard, because they keep saying inflation, there is no inflation, and there is no inflation.
There's
That's what
inflation.
I heard today.
There's inflation.
Inflation is at an all-time high since, are you ready for this? 1917.
I believe that. I
It's
believe
at an
that.
all-time high.
I believe that. You know what? I think that we are just exactly like they were, or worse than the 1920s, where people jumped out of buildings. I do believe that.
Oh, Connie, did you see the time?
Oh, guys, I could sit here and talk to
Uh,
y'all all day long, and I've missed y'all so much. Guess we
yeah,
have to say goodbye, and we'll do this again on Tuesday.
Well,
We're doing the
seriously,
90s. We're doing the
on
90s.
Tuesday.
So, little
Yeah.
Carolyn, hopefully you're going to be here because I'm going to need all the help I can get. I
Yeah.
love y'all. And thanks for coming and joining in. And may the Lord bless you and keep you every single day. All right.
And I love you guys too. Mwah. Thank you for supporting us. And I wanted to also say happy Father's Day.
Yes. Happy Father's
Happy
Day to
Father's
those
Day.
fathers out there. Yes.
And
Yes,
happy
ma'am.
Father's Day to the single mothers.
Yes.
Because
Happy.
yeah,
Yes. A happy Father's
I
Day to
was a
those
mother
single
and
mothers.
father. I
Yep.
was a mother and father.
Yep.
So yeah. Oh, that's great,
Yep.
Carolyn.
Good.
And thank you so much, you guys. You really don't know
Yeah,
how
because
much
I'm going to need
Connie,
you here.
you don't know how much Connie and I really truly appreciate and love each and every one of you.
Every one of you to pieces. Love y'all to pieces
Love
before
you.
they cut us off. Love
And
you
may God give you many blessings.
to the nth degree. Uncle Mike, have a great day. Uncle
Clyde.
Clyde, Uncle Clyde, you have yourself a happy Father's Day, Uncle Clyde. All right.
Yep.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Ciao.
See you soon.